Here it is, guys. The thrilling conclusion, sure to be
a real heater.
Amazing game between Max, the punk rocker, and Gagarin Deep Space, the super taxer, the root. I mean, it's classic Wayland that you're playing here. Anything new, anything different you're doing here? I will say, stick around for the post game. We're going to give a general thoughts on this series and just on Order and Chaos in general. Talk about some cards and where the game is right now with Order and Chaos. But any thoughts before then in the this little pregame rundown?
No, not really. It's the same deck that I was playing in round 1.
Yeah, check game 1 and 2 if you want to see some Gagarin stuff. Tim's is in game 1, so that's reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty standard. I'm running 3 Chimeras. I'm just keeping you out as early and as long as possible while scoring agendas.
And I'm going to see if this time with Max, unlike game, I think it was 3 or 4, unlike that game, I'm going to see if I can get the Siphon Train going and spam it out and get Eater going and just cause havoc like Anatomy likes to do. And Max just feels like an anarchy kind of anarch. So we're going to go there, guys. Hitting Tim and Steve in the booth for Game 7. Let's go there. Hello, guys. It is the final game, the tiebreaker, the rubber match, the critical piece of the series here between Tim and I. We talked about this game a little bit coming in via the pregame report, and now we're going to dive right into it. Tim, it's been a pleasure playing the series.
It has been. It was a really good series. I'm glad that it went Splitsville.
Yes.
I think that is a good indicator of the health of the game to an extent and our play styles.
And how fun was this? Just really having kind of a new, fresh approach and having some new identities to play with on both sides of the table. Really a blast. For this, now I am using Max in the Anatomy skeleton. It just felt right, as I said in the pregame. And then Tim, you're going with what was easily the most solid deck, I think, of the tournament for you.
Yeah.
It just tore it up. The Gagarin deck there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was probably my best corporation deck easily. If I had won the role and chosen runner, though, I would have ran that Valencia deck back.
Yeah, you think so?
Give it a shot to show the real combo.
I wonder what I would have run on the corp side. It probably would have been Argus, I guess. It's the one that I won with. But man, I think that you had a great shot with that combo deck against Argus. You're kicking it off with the old hedge fund. And I think you're going for a quick remote here, right? I remember last time you did RSVP and a root. That worked out really well for you. You might be doing the same kind of thing. And there's a remote with something installed in it. And wide open against Max.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, there's no better as a Anatomy player. I certainly love seeing that wide open HQ.
Yeah, the only ice I had in my opening hand was an RSVP.
Yeah, tough, right?
And so it doesn't really work on R&D or HQ.
And the options here are terrifying when you're staring down the new Anarchs, right?
Yep.
Account Siphon, Wanton Destruction, Keyhole, Medium. There's a lot of ways this is...
You can punish Centrals hard.
Terrifying, yeah. Looking over the cards here. Deciding the plan of attack. There's a Siphon.
And you're tagged.
That's some good... That's what we call the good money.
That's what you might call the good money.
15 credits, 2 tags later. That's a well-spent click, I gotta say.
I would take that first action almost every game.
Second, let's check out that remote. It's the RSVP. All right, fair enough. I'm not even going to pay one to look.
Oh, access is what you said. You
Can't do it. That's the beauty of RSVP. So what's down there?
It's a 5-3.
It's a 5-3. Look at the top of R&D there. See nothing. And 1 click remains.
That's all that remains.
And HQ. Seeing interns. All right, pass them back over. So really not terrible. I mean, the Siphon hurts, but... Credit, and install looks like a pad campaign over there. Centrals remain open. This is a bummer. There goes Wanton. Would like to see that.
More ice.
Yeah, you need the ice here, don't you?
Bad, generally.
And, well, it's the ice and the money. You're starting to get in the old Cincinnati Strangler, the old Anatomy...
The Cincinnati Strangler. If I don't want to go above.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't want to go above 5 credits until I can, or 2 5 credits until You get it.
Yeah, you don't want me to recur the siphon. You get it.
You've played it before.
You guys at home know the words I'm trying to say.
I've lived it. 3 credits, and now you're going to siphon me again.
Yeah, see, that looks bad. But I'm thinking, well, he's got to have something to res here in this remote, or he wouldn't have gone to 5 credits. But I may as well check him on it. And I think I just drew a hard siphon here, too.
I like that you have 2 discard piles up there. We're really good at discard piles, everybody.
There's another siphon, and there goes the money. All right. Look at how rich Max is. I got some more tags, if that matters. C and R&D.
HQ.
Or HQ. C and R&D scoring
Glen Station.
Glen Station. And J. Beebs. To put a little more tax on you there.
I think I just drew another agenda. Yeah.
You're drawing very nicely, though. It's a very clean draw.
It's my goal in life, is to have clean draws.
And 2 credits.
Ice for days in this deck right now. All 21 pieces of it.
That's crazy.
You don't know what crazy is, Steven. No, I'm just kidding.
Activate Joshua for an
are.
extra click.
Look at me tracking that click like a pro.
Yeah, dude. Bonus. Where's your bonus clicks?
I don't have any. I have 2 sets. I was like, I don't need more. That's what you want.
Score a 3-pointer. Okay. We'll take it. That's crazy. Boy, where did Gagarin... Did they decide just not to build servers today?
Yeah, it's like, all right, and that's the game. Well, that was a great series, Steven.
Well, sometimes Anatomy can do this, and that's the fantastic thing about this deck. How amazing. Let's just go right into the post-game wrap-up for this whole thing.
Yep.
Join Tim and I there. Thank you guys so much for watching this entire series. It's an absolute pleasure to do it. Thank you to the live stream crew that was there with us. And, of course, thank you to Fantasy Flight Games for making a fantastic card game.
Fantastic. One of the best games.
All right, so we're out. We've been Team Covenant. See you guys later.
See you guys.
It's all right, man. It happens. It happens to all of us. This is Netrunner. We got a show to do. How about that, guys? Man. So here's the thing about this. There was a lot of things that happened all at once that came together to make that one of the shorter games that we've played. And of course, like I said, this is Netrunner, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
Sometimes, so there was a ton of agendas showing up. That's the first point of this.
Yeah.
The second thing is there was not any ice showing up, from what I could gather. The third point was that the account siphons were on, in the sense that they were fueling my economy in a righteous way. And Wanton Destruction, a classic card.
It is a classic card.
So let's talk about the first turn of this game, where you have a remote, which is RCP, something behind it, which was what?
High risk investment.
Oh my goodness. And then no ice on R&D or HQ, which as Max, I'm looking at, and as an Anatomy variant, I'm thinking this is a dream come true.
I hedge funded as well.
You did hedge fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could still res that RSVP.
Yes.
Which I could not do if it was a Lotus Field. That's
true. That's absolutely true. We got to talk about it. What do you say? What do you say here? I think we saw what happens whenever certainly Max is kind of unhindered. I think really whenever Anarch HQ access is free and open, they can get a lot done.
They can. They have a lot of threatening things that are there.
And then you add Keyhole and stuff to the mix. And there's a really great early aggression Anarch package now, which mimics kind of what Criminals do. Whoa. Oh. Kind of like Criminals, but it's different. It does feel quite a bit different, doesn't it? It's throwing a lot of stuff in the trash. It's a more control-y kind of vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're there. We're here. We have early Anarch aggression in spades. And, well, what would you have done differently if you could?
I was trying to save the sinking ship, is what I was trying to do.
Yeah, it's so difficult.
And what I ultimately should have done is just scored those hostile takeovers as soon as possible instead of drawing cards trying to find ice.
Yeah.
And just get them out of play.
Yeah.
So that you can't get them. Because I found all 3 of them.
Yes.
They were all there.
Hey, look, I found these. Just what I was looking for.
All 3 of those. I found high-risk investment.
Certainly, if you had scored that high-risk investment somehow, I mean, the economy game would have been leveraged hard.
But I didn't need economy, though.
You didn't. Not at all. Not at all. Which is obvious. You didn't have any, but you didn't need it.
Yeah, it was like, I'm at 0 money, but it doesn't matter because I don't have any ice.
So would you have mulliganed if we were to do this again?
Yeah.
Or did you mulligan that game?
I don't remember. But I would have mulliganed a third time.
Because it was you only had RSVP in hand as the only ice, right?
And no agendas.
So, that's tempting. I understand that.
It's not a bad hand. I am running, I think, 20 pieces of ice? 19? 19 pieces of ice. Which I think is a lot of ice, ultimately. And I was like, I'll draw ice soon.
Ultimately, if you're running RSVP, do you think you should also be running NAPD?
No.
Okay.
Not with Gagarin. I mean...
It's a question mark, right?
It is a question mark.
5 to steal, and then you got to get through the RSVP. And even if you put RSVP in a dire situation on an HQ or something, and they're like, well, I'll still just look in the hand.
The problem with it is that you're never going to score in APD.
Yeah. We've learned a lot about agendas that you can never score.
It's not what you want.
At first, you're like, it's fine. I've got others that I can score. And then you're like, I need to score.
You're staring at 3 NAPDs on your hand. It's like, you just take 7 advancements. This is 7-2.
This is a problem. All right, well, so it was fairly unthrilling Max versus Gagarin.
I mean, you played it well.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? Just
win all the points.
Win all the points. Murder. Let's talk about Order and Chaos in general, having built all these IDs and just the IDs in general to start with. What are you thinking on the Corp side? What is Wayland up to with these
I think that on the Corp side, that Gagarin is the strongest of the 3.
Let's start with Gagarin then.
Okay.
Let's talk about Gagarin. So why is it the strongest, and what can it do? What should it be doing?
Gagarin gives you a reason to play more than one huge remote.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, I think, way more interesting, if nothing else. But then I think that the added tax of paying a credit is just so big.
It's just a nice little. It's already hard enough to get into Wayland's business,
right? Because they have all of this expensive stuff,
and they've got barriers.
And it's just like, oh, I don't want to break your curtain wall. I don't want to break your Hadrian's wall.
Yeah, it's
there though, and there's an agenda, so I have to do it. And then it's like I have to pay a credit to access it. And it's not. It's not an agenda.
You know, the interesting thing, you did this during the series. You snuck an agenda out of a blind remote, just completely naked, and Gagarin can do that in a very bizarre way because there's something significant about the fact that I'm willing to go check a blind remote. I'm not willing to pay 1 and go check. And it's such a
especially after you've just seen a pad campaign or you've just seen X card, whatever it is.
So is there? I guess my question maybe is there a place for completely horizontal? I mean, you still ice centrals, but like you just put stuff horizontal forever, indefinitely, and it's like if they start checking them, then you just keep putting down pad campaigns and weird stuff, and if they don't check them, you maybe start putting down agendas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's completely fair. That's really what my deck was intending to do at the end of the day,
and it did pretty well the first game.
But it wanted to have a real remote as well to really threaten.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to at some point.
Just in this Anarch meta, if that's what you want to call it, because everyone's playing Anarch right now, you have to have something. Otherwise, they'll just go imp everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, imp.
So the idea that's on my mind is Argus, and I think it's because I find it very difficult and challenging to deck build for Argus. And I want to say there's a place, there's some kind of territory that isn't quite explored, that isn't quite so obvious, that does focus on what is this idea really doing? How is it really creating an interesting moment? I think 3 false leads is a good start. And then I think the 2 branches are forcing tag me and not forcing tag me at all. And just using that one-off tag as if I have a false lead out, you can't afford the tags, you have to take the meat damage.
Right.
Those kinds of situations. But I think there's a way to build this identity that makes it super interesting, and I don't know what it is. I haven't fully found it.
I've been looking at it a lot, and I just think that anything I've come up with is just better out of Core Wayland or out of Blue Sun.
The one thing that I keep coming back to, and Zach and I talked about this a lot, is using Argus having the ability to use meat damage to open scoring windows, basically. And it's an interesting thought. So, like, let's say I scorch you down to 0 cards. Let's say you're going tag me and I scorch you down to 0 cards. That creates an interesting thing with one side of Argus's ability, which is I can't get credits and get over here and take 2 meat damage and survive, basically. Right. So it forces you to take the tag. But let's say you're not tag me, and let's say I C-source scorch you down to 0 cards and then install an agenda in a remote. You have 0 cards, you have a tag. What do you do in that situation? Can you get the money you need, install the breaker you need, or do whatever, go get in that remote? Then your choice is take a tag, and then you're probably tagged forever, or take the 2 meat damage, go down to probably like 1 card, and risk who knows what. So can Argus use meat damage as a scoring window? That's something to look valid. At. You know, we can look at it.
I think it's valid, but yeah, that's valid.
And then if you had dedicated response teams, like, things get weird. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some weird, interesting things to do with Argus. We haven't found them out yet, guys, but you will, I'm sure.
I believe in you.
I'm sure. What about, and Titan, you know, is...
Titan, to me, is the most underwhelming identity of them all.
I'll tell you one thing. It will continue to get better.
I agree.
As more agendas come out. Mm-hmm. And certainly as utility 1-pointers continue to become a thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe Sansan's the way to go with this guy.
It's very possible.
Drop the Constellation, run Sansans and interns and architects or whatever you want to do, and make it annoying. Make it really annoying.
That's fair. The thing about Titan to me, though, still is any build I've been able to come up with it is better out of any number of other identities, in my opinion, as of right now. And I mean, I think that it'll get there eventually. I just don't know what it is.
And maybe Argus.
Or when it is.
I feel like Argus will get a card or an asset or something soon, or even an upgrade that says, when the runner takes a tag, do this thing. Do a meat damage or something. So I think that these ideas have a lot of potential for expansion.
That would be crazy.
And we're really interested in seeing them. On the runner side of things?
I think all 3 are really good in different ways.
Talk about your favorite one first. If you had to build a deck, if you had to go into a tournament with a runner right now from this Order and Chaos box, who would it be?
Am I trying to win or am I trying to have fun?
Trying to win.
Trying to win, it would probably be Eddie Kim.
I love that. Standard, consistent.
He's just consistent. His ability is always going to be relevant.
Yes.
There's not a corporation deck that doesn't run operations.
And if they aren't, then you're probably okay.
You're probably doing fine anyway.
Yeah.
He's just consistent. He runs the standard Anarch package really well, I think.
He runs tag. Would you run him tag me with siphons?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think the more that I think about it, the more that I agree with you. That
3 siphons, 3 simple things, 3 deja vu.
He's the guy that's
3 wantons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You do wanton and Ed. See, huge debate on this. Let's hash this out. Let's talk about wanton destruction.
Wanton destruction, I think, should go in every Anarch deck,
regardless of
anything, because discarding 3 cards at random from the corporation's hand is one of the most disruptive abilities in the game.
Would you call it bananas?
I would call it bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-E-R-S.
So you think wanton, it doesn't matter that you can go in and get an access with Ed and maybe trash something anyway.
You can trash 3 things guaranteed.
Guaranteed to trash.
And if you have Josh B, because you're playing Tag Me, which I was running in my deck.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll click 4 times.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's just so good. And I don't know if you've received very many wanton destructions yet, but it is the most frustrating thing in the world.
Some. It is not.
And then they're like, they go to a card and they pick one and it's like, oh, it's one you want them to trash. Like, keep this one.
Yeah.
Like, no,
the others. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, I can get behind that logic. A lot of players would say, like, well, if you're running Ed, you're probably either running like HQ Interface or Nerve Agent. So you're not really needing, especially if you have a Count Siphon, Wanted Destruction, Eddie's ability, even Nerve Agent on top of that, or HQ Interface.
I think it was Joe that said before, Anarch always beats me when they annoy me to death.
Yes.
And I agree with that sentiment, and I think Wanton Destruction is the most annoying card.
And you don't think you can go too far in on HQ pressure?
It doesn't matter. You have Mimic and Yaw.
And Eater even to get in if you want to run that. All right, I agree with that. I think that's fair.
Okay. So
I'll tell you what, I am going to choose Valencia if I have to choose. I had never felt more in control and in charge than when I've been playing Valencia out of this box. Mm-hmm. I think the deck can go a lot of places. I think you can do a lot of things with it. But really, the game has changed so much with having to honor one card, and that is Blackmail. Having to honor that card, NAPD looking a little worse, those two things have really made things click in a certain way. And Valencia, just the bad pub alone is significant. Adding the Blackmail on top is huge. And it's such a relevant ability. And
yeah, it's very relevant.
And it makes a lot of sense for Anarch. With their breaker package, it's hard sometimes to hit ice in the right way.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So good.
Valencia is up there on my list. I think she's fantastic. The only problem I have with her is sometimes she's inconsistent.
Yeah. 50 card. Well, hey, 3 diesel, 3...
I'm there.
Quality
it's just one of those things that you have to... She is not always going to be as relevant.
And let's
every game.
Let's just be real. It's 5 cards.
It is 5 cards.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible at all. I don't think it's that big of a drawback at all. It's just one of those things that her ability is not always going to be relevant every game.
And what if you don't find your Blackmails?
Then
you know
they're all in the bottom half of your
happens. Deck. So there could easily be a strategy against Valencia, which is first turn remote, like advance something. And I think she falls for traps so easily that I think even without Blackmail removal, just having a Cerebral or Junebug or something or whatever your in-house trap is, barring Ambient, just advance stuff. Reverse accounts might be good against her with Ambient. Just have a couple advanceable traps. And I love that we have a meta that seems to be able to round out these Corp decks a little bit. I might have 1 or 2 traps. And so now the Corp has a lot more options, a little less one-sided. Very cool. So those are the runner choices. No Max. People will be crying in the streets if they heard this.
The thing about it is, I love Max. She's really good. I think she's one of the strongest runners in the game. But that's it. Like, she draws a card.
And discards too, let's face it.
And discards too. It's like... It's good. It's like drawing 1.5 cards is what I've heard people do the math as, and I agree with that because you have so much recursion in your deck that you can use.
Do we have enough heap manipulation to make Max super terrifying?
I think so. I think that there's a build out there that I do not want to play against.
Yeah.
And I think the Anarch made out like bandits in their identities and cards.
Completely. Could not be happier.
This box.
I'm trying not to just smile from ear to ear.
Wayland got a lot of help too, but not to the degree that Anarch did, I don't think.
Yeah, Wayland was a bit more horizontal. Anarch was definitely vertical.
Yeah.
It got brought up, I would say, exactly where it needs to be. Maybe I'm slanted because I love Anarch so much. But I've never felt as an Anarch player, and I've been one for the beginning of the game, I've never felt so special in that I had lines of attack, I had strategies, I had pressure that I could put on that was different. I wasn't importing cards for that, and other people weren't exporting my cards for that.
Right.
I finally had kind of an in-house feel to what I could do, and I could move around in it. So that's really, really fantastic. And now, the last thing we'll do, I just want you to think about what's 1 Corp card from Order and Chaos that you feel is significant from Wayland that we got, or even a Cyberdex Virus Suite or something like that. That could be.
I think that card is important. It's good that
if
it exists.
the combo deck gets big, I guess it has to be. In
that
there.
card has to exist if the combo deck exists, and it does.
Yeah.
So I think that card's important. I think that Orion's important.
Yeah.
I think that's an important piece of ice that's going to stick around for the rest of this game, and it's going to be really annoying to break, and really good.
Yeah.
I've put at least a 1 of in every Wayland deck I've built since this box came out.
I think that housekeeping is something to keep an eye on.
Housekeeping is really good. I've been playing it a lot.
You hit it early, and like against some decks, it's actually going to be significant, right? Like I'm thinking about how it would slow down like a Shaper deck, or like even the combo deck, it might slow down quite a bit. And it doesn't slow down the Anarchs quite so much because a lot of times the Anarchs and the Criminals are feeling things out at first. But it's just, if you can lock down the Centrals pretty early, which Wayland is okay at doing, and have that housekeeping in play where they're not going to just chud a score, for a couple turns of housekeeping and they score and it goes away. If you can make them install stuff to deal with what you've got going on, it's a good tempo hit, man.
It's really annoying.
Really solid.
The first time you play it, like, you read the card and you're like, yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah.
And then the first time you play it against, you're like, man, that's annoying.
Yes.
I like all of these cards.
And I love what you're doing with your Argus deck. And housekeeping made me see the full picture there, where you are literally just trying to run them out of cards. And I think there's a cool thing with housekeeping, like power shutdown, even Will-O-the-Wisp, program trashing, that kind of thing, where you're just forcing them to keep reinstalling their stuff, and then housekeeping makes it even worse. So I think that card has potential, and I'm really excited to look at it personally.
I agree. I also think high-risk investment is an important card for...
Fair. Boy, it did some work for you during the series. That game where you gained, 45 credits?
Something like that, and then lost. But it was against Valencia, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he just blackmailed. And I was like, okay. Sweet. It just is such a high potential for money gain. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's fantastic against siphon spam.
Oh, it's perfect.
You siphon me? You gain 24.
Perfect for that. What about the runner side of things? I'm going to take one that has to be mentioned, and that is I've Had Worse.
Yeah, that's the very first card I was thinking.
Absolutely has to be mentioned, right? So this is, if there ever was an Anarch answer to Scorched Earth and whatnot, it isn't Plascrete. We know it's never been Plascrete, and this is finally an answer that works in faction, that doesn't really work out of faction so well, that shores up a draw weakness. It has everything you could possibly want for an Anarch card.
The Anarch cherry on top.
It's so good. I mean, it's just so good. This is a huge card, guys. Like, I think if only we got that card.
I don't think that there's an Anarch deck ever right now that doesn't run 3 I've Had Worse.
No way. You can go tag me if you need to. You can tag me if you plan to. You can not go tag me and draw cards. It's excellent. So that would be mine. What's on your mind for the
other? There's 2 other cards really that stick out. One is Wanton Destruction.
It's serious.
It changes the game.
It's serious.
It's just always a constant threat of 3 cards are getting trashed from HQ.
It reminds me so much of like an Inside Job or something like that. You know, where as the corp,
a whole turn to do. But
as the corp, you're always worried about it. It's like, what if he's coming in for emergency shutdown? What if he's got an Inside Job? My remote can't be on. Like, it's the same way now with the HQ against Anarchs.
What if he has the Wanton Destruction?
It's like, what if he has the Wanton? My ice isn't good enough. Like, those kinds of things. So I think I agree with you completely.
That's one of the cards. And the other card that is insane, I think, and just completely opens up Anarch is Eater.
Yes. Yes.
He is awesome.
You know, the thing that I found with Eater so much is Eater is just fantastic for early aggression. And just have a couple of Eater in your deck. It's not your ultimate game plan. It's not your long term. You don't have to like make it only Eater, but like have a couple Eaters in there. Yep. And then if you see it early, and if you don't, then it's a safety mechanism where you won't get screwed over by some kind of Grim or Archer that your Mimic can't handle. And if you see it early, you got the Eater Keyhole going, and you can keep that thrown on the board for the rest of the game.
Wanton?
It's excellent. It's just an excellent little thing. Yeah, Wanton, it just opens up. So I think having a couple auxiliary Eaters is definitely the way to go, and it gives Anarch just a great early line against every faction.
There's another card I just remembered.
Give it to me. Bring it on.
Day Job.
Yeah.
I think Day Job is very important for the game.
It takes a lot of playing with to really start to find the windows where you want to use it.
I'm a big fan of Day Job. All 3 of my Anarch decks ran 3 Day Job.
And you were always happy.
And it's money. It's money now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I don't have a turn. But the amount of times when I'm playing Shaper and I'm like, okay, I'll take 8.
Yeah.
Or take 6 even. It's like, I'll spend one more click right now to just go from 2 to 10 money.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so economical for Anarch. Like, they've been struggling with economy forever.
Yes.
And now they have it for the price of their soul.
For the price of... I'll tell you the one thing that I'll end with as far as regarding Anarch and the effect
and it's only
that this
one
box
influence.
has had. Yeah, it's awesome.
It has 1 influence. I've seen a few prepaid
probably going to go for it.
That are running it over Lucky Finds.
Running 3 all-nighters? I doubt that very much. But the one thing I will say about Anarch with this box, the one thing that can be said is that for the first time ever playing Anarch, I felt like I had so many options. I could... Like, I had everything I needed. I would build a deck, and it'd be like, oh, I haven't spent any influence, which is a great feeling.
Yeah.
It's such a good feeling. So thank you so much, Fantasy Flight, I guess, ultimately for that.
It's a very well-designed box, I think.
Great job on the design. I think this is probably the strongest box that we've seen.
I think it's the best box we've seen to date.
And thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Tim and I with the old Order and Chaos Fight Night with Team Covenant. We were using all of our products during the games, so data tokens and click trackers. I didn't use them so well, but I had them.
And playmats.
And playmats. So if you want any of that, we've got it on our store. Thank you so much for watching and for your support.
We appreciate you guys.
The Netrunner community. We really do.
It's awesome.
And we'll see you with some more great games coming up. Take care, guys.
See you guys.